Have you ever wondered what truly happens when a man falls deeply, soulfully in love, when his connection goes beyond attraction and touches something sacred within him? Carl Jung once said that love is not just an emotion, but a path toward wholeness. And it's in the quiet moments of intimacy, when masks fall away and truth begins to speak, that a man reveals who he really is. Not through words, but through the way he loves, protects, and connects. When a man is deeply in love, the way he approaches intimacy changes completely. It's no longer about mere pleasure or fulfilling an instinctual urge. Something much deeper awakens within him, something that even he may not fully understand. According to Carl Jung, the physical act between two people in love can become a symbol of something far greater than biology or desire. It represents the merging of two psyches, two inner worlds, two unconscious realities longing to meet. For a man, this transformation happens when he begins to see the woman not as an object of attraction, but as a mirror of his own inner life. He begins to feel that through her, he is meeting a forgotten part of himself. In the early stages of attraction, most people are driven by instinct. There's excitement, novelty, and physical magnetism. But when love matures and deepens, these instincts evolve into something more sacred. The man no longer seeks to conquer or impress. He seeks to connect. His attention moves from external stimulation to internal meaning. In Jungian language, he begins to experience eros, the force that unites rather than divides. The physical realm becomes a reflection of an invisible bond, one that binds two souls through shared vulnerability and trust. This kind of connection cannot be forced or fabricated. It arises naturally when the heart has learned to see beyond appearances. The man who loves deeply feels that being close to his partner is not just an act, but a form of communication. Every gesture, every breath carries meaning. He becomes aware that the body is only one layer of a much larger experience. Beneath it lies emotion, memory, longing, and spirit. What he truly seeks is not only pleasure, but presence, a state where both exist fully in the moment without pretense or mask. When love transforms desire into connection, a man begins to treat intimacy as something sacred. He slows down, he listens, he notices. The need for dominance or validation disappears, replaced by an awareness that this moment is not about control, but surrender. In that surrender, he feels alive in a way that ordinary encounters can never provide. He feels seen, accepted, and understood without words, and he offers the same to his partner. This mutual recognition becomes a profound mirror where both meet the truth of who they are. For Jung, love at this level is a path toward individuation, the process of becoming whole. In this space, the man's physical desire becomes a metaphor for his psychological longing to unite the conscious and unconscious aspects of himself. The woman he loves becomes a living symbol of his own soul, his anima, the hidden feminine side that longs for integration. Through her, he discovers qualities he may have long repressed: tenderness, empathy, sensitivity, and intuition. Intimacy thus becomes not just an exchange of affection, but a process of self-discovery. When a man reaches this state, he begins to realize that love is not about possession, but participation. He no longer seeks to own or control the experience, but to move through it with reverence. What matters most is not performance or perfection, but presence, the willingness to show up with his full being. In those moments, he experiences something that transcends physical boundaries. The connection becomes a bridge between his outer and inner worlds, where the body becomes a vessel for emotional truth. This is what Jung meant when he said that true intimacy is a meeting of souls rather than bodies. When a man loves deeply, his actions in bed reflect that sacred union. It's not about physicality alone, it's about meaning, depth, and unity. When a man is truly in love, his presence in moments of intimacy changes entirely. He no longer measures the experience by how well he performs or how impressive he appears. Instead, his focus turns inward and outward at the same time, inward to feel and outward to connect. He becomes fully present. This presence is not about doing more, but about being more. Carl Jung would describe this as the moment when the ego surrenders its need for control, allowing the deeper, authentic self to emerge. A man who loves deeply no longer seeks validation from the act itself. He seeks union. His goal is no longer perfection, but connection. In our modern world, many people confuse presence with performance. They believe that love is proven through effort, display, or mastery. But when a man truly loves, he realizes that genuine connection cannot be rehearsed. It must be lived, felt, and shared. He begins to listen not only to words but to silence. He notices small gestures, subtle emotions, and unspoken signals. He becomes aware that his partner's heart responds more to sincerity than skill. This awareness shifts the entire dynamic from physical activity to emotional resonance. He no longer feels pressured to impress because he understands that love thrives in authenticity, not in perfection. Jung often spoke about the importance of awareness, the conscious recognition of one's own emotions, motives, and desires. When a man loves deeply, this awareness extends to his partner as well. He senses when she feels joy or when something within her hesitates. His attention sharpens, but not in an anxious or self-conscious way. Rather, it becomes soft and attuned. He no longer sees the moment as something to achieve, but as something to experience together. In this awareness, he learns that being present is not about what he does, but how he is. Presence in Jungian thought is an expression of wholeness. It is the union of the mind and body, conscious and unconscious, reason and emotion. When a man is fully present with his partner, he is not fragmented. He does not hide behind masks of strength or charm. He allows his true nature to show, his gentleness, curiosity, even his uncertainty, and instead of feeling weak, he feels liberated. For in that honesty, intimacy becomes real. His partner no longer connects with a facade. She connects with his essence. This presence also means he is attuned to her emotional world. He can feel the energy between them, sense when she withdraws or opens, when she feels safe or distant. His focus shifts from seeking pleasure to creating harmony. This doesn't mean perfection or control, but a shared rhythm, one that arises naturally when both hearts are open. His movements, words, and silences become guided by empathy rather than expectation. Jung might call this the integration of the anima, the inner feminine that teaches him to feel deeply and respond with care. The man who embodies presence understands that intimacy is not about proving worth, it's about exchanging truth. In this space, there is no pretending, no need to act. Every touch and every glance carries meaning because both are grounded in awareness. The ego steps aside, allowing love to flow without resistance. This is why a deeply loving man appears calm and grounded. He is not acting out of fear of loss or need for control. He is simply allowing connection to unfold as it naturally does when both souls trust each other. When Jung wrote about relationships, he often described love as a path towards self-realization. Presence is the doorway to that path. In being present, a man touches not only the heart of his partner, but also his own soul. He learns that love is not a performance to be perfected, but a truth to be lived. When a man is deeply in love, something profound awakens within him. A tenderness he may have never shown before, a softness that reveals who he truly is beneath the surface. Carl Jung often spoke about how love exposes the hidden layers of the psyche, and for a man, this often happens through emotional vulnerability. When he feels safe and truly connected, he allows parts of himself that have long been buried, fear, longing, sensitivity, and even childhood wounds, to surface. This vulnerability is not weakness. It is an act of courage. It shows that he trusts his partner enough to be seen without armor, without pretense. Most men are conditioned from an early age to hide their emotions. Society teaches them to be strong, to control their feelings, to never appear fragile. But when a man falls deeply in love, those walls begin to soften. Love creates a space where he feels understood, not judged, and in that safety, he starts to reveal his truest self, not the one shaped by expectations, but the one formed by experiences, dreams, and emotions. Jung described this process as the meeting of the conscious and unconscious, the integration of what he called the shadow, those parts of ourselves we often suppress. Through love, a man's shadow finds light. In intimacy, this emotional openness becomes visible. He may express his affection in more genuine ways, not just through words but through gentleness, attention, and honesty. He no longer fears showing his sensitivity because his love allows him to embrace his full humanity. He can admit when he's afraid, when he's uncertain, or when something deeply moves him. Instead of hiding behind pride or control, he chooses connection. This act of opening his heart becomes a bridge between his inner and outer worlds, a symbol of deep trust. Jung believed that emotional vulnerability in relationships mirrors the process of individuation, the journey toward becoming whole. When a man allows his emotions to surface, he is not losing control. He is integrating parts of himself that were once separated. His tears, his confessions, his quiet moments of reflection are not signs of fragility, but of strength. They show that he is no longer ruled by his fear of being seen. He has accepted that love is not about perfection, but about truth. In these moments, a man begins to discover a different kind of strength, one that doesn't come from dominance or power, but from authenticity. When he lets down his guard, he invites his partner to do the same. Their intimacy deepens because it is built not just on attraction, but on understanding. He learns to express emotions through small gestures of care, through listening, through gentle reassurance, through silent presence. These actions become reflections of his inner transformation. Love turns him into a mirror of empathy, patience, and devotion. Jung might say that through this vulnerability, the man connects with his inner feminine, the anima, the emotional, intuitive part of his psyche that seeks balance with his masculine energy. When this union happens within, it naturally reflects in his relationship. His love becomes compassionate, his desire becomes mindful, his affection becomes soul-centered. The act of being vulnerable no longer feels threatening. It becomes the most profound way of saying, "I trust you with my truth." Emotional vulnerability is the invisible language of deep love. It is the way a man silently says that he is no longer afraid to be real, that he values connection over control. In those moments, love becomes a healing force. It mends what was once broken, softens what was once hardened, and teaches him that true strength lies not in hiding his emotions, but in embracing them. Carl Jung believed that every man carries within him a hidden feminine aspect, which he called the anima. This inner feminine energy represents emotion, intuition, creativity, and the capacity to love. When a man falls deeply in love, this part of him awakens and seeks expression through his connection with the woman he loves. Intimacy becomes more than physical closeness. It becomes a sacred merging of the masculine and feminine within him. He no longer experiences his partner as separate from himself, but as a reflection of his inner world. In her presence, he encounters the qualities he has long yearned to understand: softness, mystery, and the unspoken language of the soul. At first, Many men are unaware of this dynamic. They may be drawn to a woman's beauty, her grace, or her energy, without realizing that what attracts them is something already living within their own psyche. Jung described this as projection, the process by which a man projects his inner feminine image onto a woman in the outer world. When love is shallow, this projection remains unconscious. He sees only what he wants to see. But when love deepens, the projection begins to dissolve, and he starts to recognize her not as an ideal, but as a real, complex being. This realization marks the beginning of true intimacy because it bridges fantasy and reality. When a man is deeply in love, the physical act becomes a reflection of this inner transformation. He no longer seeks satisfaction alone, he seeks connection, the merging of his conscious masculine with the intuitive, emotional qualities he sees in her. In that space, he begins to experience what Jung called hieros gamos, the sacred union of opposites. His partner becomes a vessel through which he connects with his own hidden depths. Every gesture, every look, every shared breath carries symbolic meaning. It's as if, for a moment, two souls are speaking a language older than time, a language that cannot be spoken, but only felt. This merging of the masculine and feminine within him also changes the way he expresses love. He becomes more receptive, more empathetic, more emotionally aware. The need to dominate or prove himself fades, replaced by a natural balance between strength and sensitivity. His love becomes nurturing rather than controlling, attentive rather than demanding. Jung saw this balance as essential to individuation, the process by which a person becomes whole. A man who embraces both his masculine and feminine energies learns that love is not about power, but about harmony. Through this integration, he also begins to see his partner not as an object of desire, but as a companion on a shared journey of growth. He understands that her presence challenges him, mirrors him, and sometimes even confronts him with parts of himself he has avoided. This confrontation is sacred. It is how the soul expands. The moments of connection and vulnerability become opportunities for healing. Love becomes not only a relationship with another person, but also a dialogue between the conscious and unconscious within himself. In this state, intimacy transforms from something instinctual into something symbolic. The union between two lovers mirrors the union of opposites within the psyche, light and dark, logic and emotion, giving and receiving. The man begins to experience that true connection is not about losing himself in another, but about finding himself through another. His partner becomes a mirror of his own inner evolution, and every act of tenderness becomes a step toward greater self-awareness. For Jung, this was the ultimate purpose of love, not mere companionship, but transformation. When a man truly merges his masculine and feminine energies through love, he steps closer to wholeness. In that sacred balance, intimacy becomes not only an expression of affection, but also a path to the soul. When a man is deeply in love, his strength takes on a new form. It is no longer loud, forceful, or built on the need to prove himself. It becomes gentle, grounded, and protective. Carl Jung often described love as a force that brings balance to the psyche, transforming raw instinct into conscious care. In moments of closeness, this transformation is visible through how a man treats his partner. His power no longer seeks control. It seeks to create safety. His touch, his presence, and his energy become protective rather than possessive. He begins to embody what Jung would call the integrated masculine, a man who understands that true strength is not in domination, but in tenderness. A man who loves deeply doesn't protect his partner out of fear or insecurity. He does so out of reverence. He becomes aware that her emotional and physical well-being matters to him as much as his own. This awareness arises not from obligation, but from empathy. He senses her needs, her comfort, her emotional states, and responds naturally. In this sensitivity, love takes on a nurturing quality. He does not need to speak of it or make grand gestures. His care shows in small, quiet ways. The way he listens, the way he notices, the way he holds space for her emotions without judgment. For Jung, such gentleness is not weakness, but a manifestation of maturity. The man who reaches this state has likely faced his own inner conflicts. He has met his shadow, the part of himself that once sought control or validation, and learned to integrate it. Through love, he transcends the need to dominate. He understands that real protection means allowing his partner to feel safe enough to be herself. In this, he becomes not her shield, but her sanctuary. The difference is profound. A shield blocks the world. A sanctuary allows freedom. This transformation of power through love is symbolic of the balance between the masculine and feminine energies within the psyche. The unbalanced masculine seeks to conquer. The integrated masculine seeks to care. When love awakens a man's deeper self, his actions in intimacy begin to reflect this harmony. He becomes attentive rather than assertive, patient rather than hurried. His focus shifts from personal satisfaction to shared emotional connection. He no longer sees intimacy as something to achieve, but as something to honor. This quiet reverence transforms physical closeness into emotional depth. Jung believed that such evolution happens when a person begins to act from the self, the center of the psyche where all opposites unite. For a man in love, this means he acts not out of ego, but from his essence. His love expresses itself through quiet protection, through the wish to bring comfort rather than control. Even in moments of silence, his presence carries stability. It tells his partner that she is safe to be vulnerable, to express her truth without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. This sense of emotional safety is one of the highest forms of love. Gentleness, in this sense, becomes an expression of sacred strength. It is not passive, it is intentional. It takes awareness to be gentle, to recognize another's sensitivity and respond with care. It requires emotional intelligence to hold space for another's soul without trying to fix or change it. Jung would say this is the moment when love ceases to be an instinct and becomes a conscious act. It is when the heart begins to lead more than the ego. In this state, the man's love radiates calm assurance. His partner feels valued not for what she gives, but for who she is. His strength becomes her safety, and his gentleness becomes her peace. Through love, he discovers that protection is not about guarding someone from the world, but about creating a world within which love itself feels safe to exist. When a man is deeply in love, something profound happens within his soul. He no longer seeks to possess, he seeks to unite. This union is not about control or attachment, but about recognition. Carl Jung believed that true love is the meeting of two souls who see themselves reflected in one another. In moments of intimacy, this recognition becomes tangible. It is the experience of seeing beyond appearances, beyond the body, into the essence of the other person. A man who has reached this depth of love no longer feels separated from the one he loves. He feels as though they are part of the same inner reality. It is not simply attraction, but a quiet awareness that something eternal connects them. Jung described love as a mysterious force that reveals what lies hidden in the unconscious. When a man loves deeply, he begins to sense that the connection he feels is not accidental. It is as if life itself has guided him toward this person. Every shared glance, every silence, carries a sense of meaning. He feels as though he has known her beyond time and logic. This recognition brings with it a kind of peace, because deep down he understands that he is not meeting a stranger. He is meeting the part of his own soul that has long been waiting to return home. In this way, love becomes a mirror of the self, the deeper spiritual center that Jung believed lies within every human being. When this realization occurs, his actions and intentions change. He becomes less interested in what he can receive and more focused on what he can give. His affection is no longer driven by desire alone, but by devotion. The physical closeness becomes an expression of unity rather than need. He finds beauty not just in moments of passion, but in the quiet presence they share afterward, the stillness, the peace, the feeling of belonging. To him, this connection feels sacred. It is no longer about being together to escape loneliness, but about recognizing that they are two halves of the same energy, completing what was once divided. In Jungian terms, this experience reflects the union of opposites, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, outer and inner. Through love, a man becomes more whole. The woman he loves becomes both his mirror and his guide. She reflects his emotions, his hidden fears, his capacity for tenderness and forgiveness. In her presence, he learns more about himself than he ever could alone. This process is not always easy, because real love demands growth. It requires him to face his insecurities, his shadows, his fears of loss. But he accepts these challenges because somewhere in his heart he knows that love is not meant to make him comfortable. It is meant to make him real. In moments of deep connection, the boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve. He feels as though he is part of something larger, something infinite. This is the mystical dimension of love that Jung often hinted at. The sense that through another person, we come closer to understanding the divine. The man who experiences this kind of love no longer sees separation, he sees unity. Every moment shared becomes a reminder that love is not a possession, but a shared consciousness, where two souls recognize each other's light and reflect it back with gentleness. When Jung spoke of the self as the ultimate goal of human growth, he described it as the state of wholeness, where the opposites within us find harmony. Love, in its purest form, mirrors that same process. When a man is deeply in love, he experiences this harmony not only within himself, but through the one he loves. It is not an escape from the world, but a return to it, with more awareness, compassion, and understanding. The desire for union becomes something spiritual, a longing to touch eternity through another human being, to realize that the deepest form of love is the recognition that both souls were never truly separate to begin with. In the end, Carl Jung would remind us that love, in its truest form, is not simply an emotion or a fleeting passion. It is a journey of awakening. When a man loves deeply, every gesture, every word, every moment of closeness becomes a reflection of his inner transformation. His desire turns into connection, his strength softens into protection, his pride dissolves into vulnerability, and his soul seeks unity rather than possession. Love becomes a sacred mirror through which he confronts his hidden self, learns compassion, and touches the divine within him and within the one he loves. Such love does not depend on perfection or permanence. It depends on truth. It invites both to shed their masks and meet in the raw honesty of being human. This kind of love heals because it unites the broken parts within us. It reveals that intimacy is not only about bodies coming together, but about souls remembering they were never truly apart. When a man reaches this understanding, he realizes that love is not something to find outside himself. It is something that awakens when two souls recognize themselves in each other's eyes and choose to grow together in wholeness.